everyone. This video is about 3 years overdue. Someone posted a comment saying that 23andMe has done an update, and so now 23andMe is more detailed with their genetics. When I first did a 23andMe genetic testing, that was over 3 years ago, and the whole continent lit up, and it didn't really get into the details of who I am as a person. I know who I am from my family and what they tell me. I know I'm Laos, but seeing the entire map of North and South America lit up in my results, and also seeing the rest of Asia lit up, I realized there's diversity within these continents, and that my genetic material couldn't really scatter. There was a lot of debate on what I was. People were telling me, no, you're not Native American, just because. I get it. Native American people are very beautiful people. I know I'm not an indigenous, I'm not a part of their tribe, but I'm just going to give you an update on really what my genetic material is and who I am. It does. I think 23andMe did a really good job of really narrowing it down, where my genetic material comes from and who I am, which is great. I like learning this stuff about yourself is great. Learning that, like Neanderthals didn't really die out. There's about 2 to 1 to 3% of their genetic material in the rest of our population. And then there's this new species. Well, they're human, but they're called Denivisan. Probably I'm saying that wrong. Denivisan, and they were found in Siberia. These particular groups, and their genetic material is found within, my people, within a lot of Southeast Asian. I'm considered Southeast Asian. I'm considered Laos, and I also realized Laos is just a country, just like the United States was a country, and it was formed what, like 400 years ago. It doesn't really get into the details of your ethnicity and who you are as these tribal people, and I believe, it's good to kind of learn this about yourself, because sometimes you identify your ethnicity to your nationality, which is just the country that you're a citizen of, but it doesn't really go into ethnicities. I think some people that are very curious and like to learn should really take this test. I'm going to go dive in and show you the updates of 23andMe. Not to offend anybody here, okay? But I just want everyone to remember that as much as you have nationalistic pride, remember that nationalities and countries are easily formed in which we can identify with. I mean, it wasn't until, recently that Tibet was in and of itself a people and a group of people and a country, and China took Tibet, right? China took Tibet. There's no longer Tibet. It's part of China. The Tibetans are now called Chinese. So we can understand that nationality is a country, and ethnicity is just what our genetics are made of the tribal people that we are a part of. And so this is the update on 23andMe. It's giving me a little bit more detail about what I wanted to see in terms of who I am. It didn't do it like last time, where it lit up an entire continent with all the diversity of these particular tribe of people that live within these continents. So I'm glad they're kind of fine-tune it a little bit more. I mean, we all know we're all human, but I like to kind of see it a little bit more detailed and refined. So they're doing this a little bit here, but I know 23andMe is very limited in their testing. They don't sequence your whole entire genetic material. I believe another company called Nebula Genomics actually does that. They sequence about 30 times what 23andMe and Ancestry.com would actually test for. So let's jump right in. You can see I'm 64.7% Vietnamese because my dad is Vietnamese. I am also 15.2% Indonesian, Thai, Cambodian or Khmer, Myanmar or Burma. But again, those are very distinctively different countries. It also says I am Chinese Dai at 12.1%. And again, the Dai are an ethnic group. They're an ethnic minority. They are not really Chinese like the Han Chinese. They are similar to the Thai group. They are considered the Thai group, and they're part of the Lao, the Thai, and the Laos and the Thai. And they actually speak and sound just like a Laos and Thai. There's also, it kind of lumped me 7.3% broadly Southeast Asian and Chinese. I've taken other tests where the Chinese part doesn't show up at all. I'm pretty much 100% Southeast Asian. Part of the Thai group or the Lu group or the Putai group, or the Aka group, which are very distinctive, like indigenous people of that particular group in Southeast Asia. They're an actually Austronesian group. They're like the Black Asians. You actually call them the Black Asian, Austronesian, and then they're related to like Polynesians and all of that. There's also some trace marker at 0.7% of me being Bengali and Northern Indian, broadly Central Asian and South Asian, and Sri Lankan at 0.2%. So that narrows it down. I'm going to actually show you my ancestry. I think it's called My Ancestry, because then it gets into the question of how accurate are these genetic testing. Nebula Genomics have me as a group of kin and Lu. There's only two groups that I'm a part of. The kin is the Vietnamese, and the Lahu. Lahu is pretty much, these are ethnic groups that lives in Thailand and Laos. Let's hop on into another platform or a genetic testing company. I literally just imported over a raw material or raw file of my 23andMe test to a company called MyHeritage, and I also, upon another person that commented, told me to upload it to WeGene. At that time, 23andMe hadn't updated their reports, so this is where I updated. I uploaded on WeGene. WeGene had me primarily as Dai, which is a part of like an ethnic minority in China that are related to the Laos and the Thai people. They actually speak like us. They have a very similar culture, dance, the peacock dance, and the water throwing festival, very similar to us. And again, I said, remember, if you hold nationalistic pride, remember that there are ethnicities and tribal people that get swallowed up, that get annexed and absorbed into the more dominant country as it's forming. Okay, so check this out. MyHeritage spit out a completely different report. It makes me question how accurate this really is, because they have me at, and then they clump Chinese and Vietnamese as one, 50.4% Chinese and Vietnamese, which then clumps further to Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Cambodia, Thailand, and Malaysia. And then they clump me at 39% Thai and Cambodian. And then they clump me, at 9.1% Filipino, Indonesian, and Malay, and Malaysian. There's really no Laos people in there at all. And I see that I'm like 1.5% Eastern European. I looked up what the Baltic people are. They were a group that was a part of the Kingdom of Prussia, which was once part of Russia. That kingdom dissolved. Now it's become a separate country like Latvia, Lithuania, and Belarus. So I guess 1% Eastern European, which is odd. It doesn't show here at all that I am 0.7% Indian, but 23andMe showed a little trace marker of me being a bit Indian. Nebula Genomics only broken me down into what I mostly am, which is kin and Lu or Lahu, which is they're an ethnic minority that lives in Laos, southern China, and Thai. And again, Laos is just a country. It's full of very diverse ethnic groups like the Hmongs, the Putai. My grandmother is Putai. Putai is a subgroup of the Dai group, which is the Chinese Dai group. Putai, the Lu, and the various Thai group. Thai, I think they call it Thai Lum, Thai Pu, Thai whatever, which is like lowland, highland Thai groups, which are like the Laos people. In general, it is Laos, but it just doesn't really. Laos is very diverse in terms of ethnicity and tribal people. Yeah, that's it. If you guys are interested in taking Nebula Genomics or even 23andMe. I recommend taking 23andMe because they've updated their reports, and I believe their reports is kind of in line with a lot of the other Laotian. We were kind of disappointed when we tried to take our tests, and I've seen other videos of Laos people being very disappointed because their results were like mine. The whole continent glowed, like North America and South America glowed, and it just, there's a lot of diversity there. So if you're Laos or if you're like Southeast Asian, take the test, see what we are all made of. It brought me some knowledge that Laos is just a country. It's not an ethnicity. You know, the many ethnicity, like the various groups within that makes up Laos, that hasn't really pulled up, and I kind of see it pulling up here a little bit. On WeGene, I see it pulling up with the Dai minority. The Dai are just like the tribal Thai group. They're part of the Thai and Lao people, and it made me realize that Laos was once a part of Thailand, and was, you know, Laos was given over to the French, and the French kind of took that land over and became our protectorate. So that's what happened there. If that didn't happen, the Laos people would still be part of Thailand. So take the test. I'm gonna link a link where you can actually get 10% off if you want to take the test, and I'll link a referral link there, and you can, you know, get 10% off. If you like this video, subscribe. I'll try to do more content and give me some ideas on what you want to see.